The power of true knowledge, freedom from fear, worry, and confusion. In today's fast-paced world, people are constantly searching for peace, confidence, and meaning. We chase success, comfort, relationships, and recognition, hoping that these things will make us happy and stress-free. Yet, despite having more information, technology, and convenience than ever before, anxiety, fear, confusion, and laziness are increasing everywhere. Why is that? The reason is simple but profound. Information is not the same as true knowledge. True knowledge is not just what we read in books or hear from others. It is deep understanding about life, about ourselves, and about reality. When a person gains true knowledge, something extraordinary happens. They begin to feel lighter. Their worries reduce. Their fears lose power. Confusion fades. Laziness disappears. Confidence rises. Stress melts away. In this video, we will explore how true knowledge transforms a human being, why it frees us from worry and fear, how it destroys inertia and laziness, how it relieves stress, and how it builds unshakable self-confidence. What is true knowledge? Before we go any further, we must understand what true knowledge really means. True knowledge is not memorizing facts. It is not collecting degrees. It is not winning arguments. True knowledge is clarity. It is understanding who you are, how the world works, what truly matters, what does not, what you can control, what you must accept. True knowledge brings awareness. It removes illusion. It replaces blind belief with understanding. It allows you to see life as it truly is, not as fear or ego wants it to be. When knowledge becomes wisdom, when it is lived, not just learned, it changes everything. Knowledge removes confusion, is one of the biggest sources of human suffering. When we don't understand something, we panic, we overthink, we imagine the worst, we hesitate, we make poor decisions. Confusion creates fear, anxiety, and stress. Imagine walking in a dark room. Every sound scares you. Every shadow looks dangerous. But the moment the light is turned on, fear disappears. Not because the room changed, but because you can see clearly. Knowledge is that light. When you understand why people behave the way they do, how emotions work, how success actually happens, how failure is part of growth, how life is unpredictable but manageable, confusion fades away. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "I understand. This is part of the process." Clarity replaces chaos. Knowledge frees you from worry, comes from imagining negative futures without understanding reality. People worry about money, health, relationships, career, the opinions of others, the future. But most worry is useless. It does not solve problems. It only drains energy. True knowledge teaches you an important truth. Worry does not improve outcomes. Action and understanding do. When you gain knowledge, you understand what is within your control. For example, if you understand finances, you don't panic about money. You plan. If you understand health, you don't fear every symptom. You take care. If you understand human nature, you stop expecting perfection from others. Knowledge brings realism. Realism brings peace. Instead of worrying endlessly, you think clearly and act wisely. Knowledge destroys fear, is born from the unknown. We fear failure because we don't understand it. Death because we don't understand life. Rejection because we don't understand self-worth. Change because we don't understand growth. True knowledge exposes fear for what it is, a misunderstanding of reality. When you understand that failure is feedback, not defeat, fear weakens. When you understand that rejection is redirection, fear loses power. When you understand that change is inevitable, fear becomes acceptance. Knowledge does not remove danger, it removes imaginary danger. A knowledgeable person is not fearless, but they are fear-aware. They don't run from fear, they understand it. And understanding transforms fear into courage. Knowledge ends inertia, and laziness is not the absence of energy. It is the absence of clarity and purpose. People are lazy because they don't know why they should act. They don't see meaning in effort. They are mentally confused. They fear failure without understanding it. True knowledge gives direction. When you understand your goals, your potential, the cost of inaction, the value of discipline. You naturally become active. Knowledge fuels motivation because it shows you the why behind effort. A person who understands the consequences of laziness will not remain lazy. A person who understands their own strength will not stay inactive. Inertia exists only where awareness is missing. Knowledge relieves stress as caused by overthinking, lack of control, unclear priorities, emotional imbalance, fear of outcomes. True knowledge teaches balance. It teaches you not everything needs a reaction. Not every problem needs panic. Not every thought is true. Not every emotion needs to be obeyed. When you understand how the mind works, you stop being controlled by it. Knowledge helps you breathe consciously, think rationally, respond calmly, let go when needed. Stress reduces when you stop fighting reality and start understanding it. Knowledge aligns your mind with truth, and truth is peaceful. Knowledge builds true self-confidence. Confidence does not come from praise. It does not come from looks. It does not come from money. True confidence comes from self-knowledge. When you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your boundaries, you stop seeking validation. You don't need approval because you understand yourself. You don't fear judgment because you know your worth. You don't compare because you know your path. Knowledge replaces insecurity with self-trust. A knowledgeable person does not feel superior or inferior. They feel secure. And security is the foundation of confidence. Knowledge removes mental slavery. Ignorance makes people slaves. Slaves to fear, slaves to opinions, slaves to habits, slaves to emotions, slaves to society. Knowledge makes people free. When you understand manipulation tactics, emotional triggers, social conditioning, false beliefs, you stop being controlled. You begin to think independently. You act consciously. You choose wisely. True freedom is not external. It is internal. Knowledge brings inner peace does not come from avoiding problems. It comes from understanding life deeply. When you gain true knowledge, you accept impermanence. You embrace uncertainty. You respect reality. You let go of illusions. Peace arises naturally. You stop fighting what is. You stop wishing for what isn't. You focus on what matters. The mind becomes quiet. The heart becomes light. This is the ultimate gift of knowledge. Knowledge turns life into growth. Without knowledge, life feels like suffering. With knowledge, life becomes learning. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes understanding. Knowledge transforms pain into progress. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what can this teach me? And that shift changes everything. Conclusion: knowledge is liberation. True knowledge is not just power. It is liberation. It frees you from worry, fear, confusion, laziness, stress, insecurity. It gives you clarity, confidence, courage, discipline, peace, purpose. In a world full of noise, knowledge gives silence. In a world full of fear, knowledge gives strength. In a world full of confusion, knowledge gives direction. So, seek knowledge. Not just information, but understanding. Not just learning, but wisdom. Because when knowledge becomes part of who you are, you don't just survive life, you live it fully, freely, and fearlessly. I hope you subscribe my channel and like videos. Thanks for watching.